Alright, so welcome back to another scene for this life. Where, if I am given the artistic freedom to do so, what I'm going to do is just skip ahead to setting us on the lake lower side, well away from the actual lake edge, into the trees. Because, let's face it, even the Glasswalker spends more time out in nature than David does. It's probably not good for him on some level. This is one of those things where it's like your kids should play outside. It's bad for them not to play outside. I don't know why, it just is. But whatever the case, of all the places on Sept that Charlotte has been and seen and learned about in her time there, the lake lower side is perhaps a little eerie. The water flows fairly silently. The trees are a little more gnarled, the ground a little more looser. But it's also the ideal place to go if one wishes to have a conversation that doesn't go hard. It's a relatively safe place to talk. And honestly, it's the easiest solution to getting David, for one, on Sept, but for two, out somewhere where they can speak freely without fear of consequence. Because, let's be honest, some freedom of speech goes a long way in getting things hashed out. So, this is where she is taking poor David when she has collected him up, driven him back to Sept. Took him on the bike too. Sorry, man. Her car gone. Is dead. Is super dead. She's not even sure she wants to admit that thing was hers, the way it went down. So, she's just going to artistically pretend that totally wasn't her car, or better yet, that it was stolen. And is, yeah, bike for now, buddy. Don't worry, she brought you a helmet. But all the same, by this point, we'll have them well away from the water and into the trees. And honestly, just kind of be walking, taking glances around, making sure they don't intrude on anyone else, and then finally glancing over to poor David, who has been rested away from all of his normal activities. And finally go, all right, this is a pretty free place to actually just fucking talk without 80 people listening. So, yeah, this is where we're gonna hang for now. At least because it makes it easier to actually just fucking talk like people.
Hmm.
There, and naturally, there is a pause and a sharp glance offside because there's thudding.
Olana looks up, the deer laid out in front of her. She herself looks like a deer in the headlights in this moment.
Oh. Hey?
Hello, Raya. I did not see you there.
Gives a shrug. Lord knows she is she did try to get the non-neon version of this very nice trendy winter coat. You know what? Actually, do you mind if I try to have a vague learning curve while you do that?
I can take this elsewhere. It is an offering to the Winter Wolf.
Oh.
I don't kill on the bond, but when I dress them, I leave the things I would not use here because the wildlife has use for them. And it satisfies the ban.
She kind of glances back at David to just get a quick expression read, see if he's following.
Of course he's following.
Look, man, sometimes she wonders how much people have bothered to teach him. So, yeah, it's the quick glance around to see if he's familiar with the totem and the band and all that. And she kind of gives a nod. No, I mean, go ahead. But do you mind if I actually try to learn something while you're doing it?
This is fine, yes?
Cool. And yeah, she will redirect and carefully pick her way over because, as stated, trees are gnarled, the ground is loose. It's easy to get stuck up or trip. So she takes a second to come around and kind of scrunch her nose under the scarf and actually try to see what the fuck Yolana's doing, because she don't know how to fucking dress a deer. She don't know how to dress anything.
So mostly just to like not take this like over the top into edgelord territory, Yolana dresses the deer and she's very systemic about it. I'm going to put it that way. I'm not going to take you through a step-by-step of dressing a deer. It's a necessary thing when you're hunting, but it's also incredibly gross in many circumstances, and I don't feel appropriate for YouTube.
No, that is fine.
But what you will see is that she is very efficient about it, and she has not just her like main knife, but a series of knives that just make the process a lot easier than it otherwise would be if you were trying to do this with one knife. And what you get at the end of it is the deer is almost, I wouldn't say entirely drained of blood, but damn near. And it's just kind of hanging from a tree where she's had to like tie a rope around its legs and hoist it up to really get the blood out. And a pile of its innards and some parts of it that she just would not use. It's a messy process, and it smells. You can smell it. But I think the one thing I'd stress is she seems to know what she is doing. It's not easy to follow in the failing light. It's very obvious just from the way she carries herself that whatever she's been up to, she's been at it all day. But at the end, she has a deer and is just looking up at this thing. And after it is drained, I will probably have to spend most of this night preparing the beginning of preparing the meat. It is a drawn-out process, Raya. But this should last me for quite a while. Us for quite a while. You will get the first cut.
But I thought you said it was for Winterwolf.
No. Winterwolf demands that the parts of our kill that we would not use or that we would set aside, we leave for creatures that are not doing it as well in the harsh months. So in a way, yes, it is for Winterwolf, but Winterwolf intends it for those that need help getting along. After we leave from here, you will see, if you stay at a pace and watch quiet, you will see the foxes, and I think there are some feral cats. I don't know where they came from, but I have some guesses. And the raccoons, and they will all come, and they will descend upon it.
Yeah, at this point, Charlotte probably has like the back of a hand, pulled up, kind of scrunched over her nose. As she points to, the guts, and let's face it, probably the lower joints, the head, the bits you really can't process.
Yeah, basically.
So it's kind of like tithing in the end. A lot of the Theurges actually take care of it for most of the Sept, but it's never a bad idea to get on the good side of a spirit. So, good call.
And I will say from experience, the feral cats, they rove together. The head alone they will reduce to bone in a very short time.
Okay.
I mean, if you want my opinion, I think people keep cats and sometimes they get away and they do not always fare poorly after, and that is why there are so many in the area.
Yep. Charlotte will plunk down upwind of that because it, as pointed out,
it
smells lovely. And you know what? She's figured this much out.
Like if you guys weren't alone to begin with, you'd be alone now.
Mm. And on the bright side, it's not like we actually have wild wolves that close to this area, so we don't need to worry about leaving big items out. biggest thing we're gonna get around here is like a raccoon, or I'd say a raccoon's bigger than a possum or the cats, right? Probably fatter than a fox too.
Raccoon's bigger than the cats, bigger than the fox.
Yeah.
Bigger than the possum, but possum will not bother with this.
I mean, yeah.
If anything, they have probably moved off away from as far away from this as they can get. They do not like it.
Don't they eat bugs or something?
Yes. Winter is not very conducive to bugs. They will go where their prey are.
Makes sense. She just kind of like leans back on whatever tree she's plopped down under, very, very pointedly upwind. So, in the interest of actually doing at least a little bit of what I brought you out for, David, is there anything you need to know, want to know about what's been going on, who's who, what's what? You too, Yolana. Anything that helps you guys integrate?
I mean, okay. So how are we doing on our war?
Against what? The worm, the spirals, the
I
weird.
mean, it's all the same thing, isn't it?
The war's a constant.
Right. So considering we have, is the Sinister still active?
Oh yeah, yeah. She actually
And
gestures over to Yolana. She's part of a. Yolana did pretty good, but the Sinister actually was hanging off the back of my car, which is why it's. Well, Toad at this point was wrapped around a corner of a building for a hot minute.
It was a wall.
There you go.
Oh yeah. We hit a wall.
I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of fuzzy.
hey,
It was
I actually have a
my
question.
fault. I lost control of the vehicle. We were going over 60.
She was literally clinging to the back of it in Krynos, in your defense. Question. Yeah, what's up?
Is there some kind of gift or some kind of crazy ritual or spell that does a fucking Harry Potter, and every time somebody says your name, you know about it? I'm only asking because, I'd rather. Well, look, it doesn't seem outside the realm of possibility, so I'm asking.
I guess if you want to get creative with it and you wanted to know when a specific person was doing it, you could try to see if you could get a Theurge to set a spirit around that person so it would alert you when your name was spoken, but it'd be a weird deal to crack. I don't know. That's about the only thing I could think of.
Okay. No, I just wanted to make sure that I could say people's names freely without, dire, serious consequences occurring.
No, you should be able to say people's names freely, and out here you should be for the most part clear, but I wouldn't say anything gruesomely insulting without need. But you can be honest. Not about to turn around and go fucking tell someone you said shit.
Oh, well, no, it wasn't like that. So, I don't know. I forget. Oh, wait, no. How? So look, war is an ever-changing thing. So where are the battle lines right now?
I want to say it was out east that the Blackblade's set up. He's got an abandoned town that he's taken over and has all manner of fucking recruits. I'm assuming most of them are Spiral Kin. But they're being military drilled and trained Got ballistic shields, guns, fighting the phalanx. Nasty shit. Got at least 2 sniping points. According to the Striders, they've got more than that, and they rotate their snipers so you can never be sure where it's going to come from. But yeah, they keep a pretty hard hold on that, and let's face it, if he's training people up that hard, eventually he's probably going to push an assault. That or he's going to start claiming more territory. So right now he's holed up there. The other 4 have been slumming around. It was near the docks, right? I'm like glad it's over to Yolana.
Something like that, right?
There was they've been hitting up a particular strip joint that I think they've purchased at this point, but they've been using it to root around for likely victims, which at the very least they're using to keep the 2 girls whole, I think. Using them for spare parts.
Oh, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, we managed to, she gestures to Yolana as she says it. We managed to get one of the girls they had a pretty key interest in out before they could disassemble her. So there's that. We might have a lead in on it. In the meantime, I've gotten a look at what the silence looks like in Hamid. Yolana has 2, I think. And we've got a handle for him. We've got what I think is the name he's going by. It's the one they used to purchase the strip joint, and it's the one they used contacting the girl in email. So they're not predictable still, but we know they're hovering around that spot. It's a good place to get their attention. But there's no telling where else they'll turn up. But for the most part, unless you bait them out, they haven't been making moves of their own, really. They're just trying to settle and keep their system in place to keep the 2 girls up and active. The only battle plan that I know of, besides constantly hearing them when they get in range, is I've got the Theurges working on something, because those girls are put together from parts of other people who are dead, but those pieces that have been, I don't know, grafted onto them are obviously currently living. And we have at least one Theurge with a pretty close affinity for death spirits. We've also got a Bonar Theurge. And, well, they can deal with all sorts of generally considered kind of oogie things. So I thought maybe if we involved maggots, that would help. But if we can get a piece of either of the girls, preferably both of them, that is some of the flesh that's been grafted onto them, we can shoot it off, we can claw it off, we can bite it off. Doesn't matter how. Hell, if I had the fucking foresight to reinforce the car, I probably would have just tried to fucking put some barbs on it and hit him with it. We just need a hunk. Something for the spirits to see and use it to, I don't know, scent them out or recognize them. And we might have something that can start literally breaking them apart. That'll make them easy picking, and it'll probably make the Sinister do something fucking ridiculous. She is really attached to them. And it might put her in a position where we can take her out. So most of dealing with them right now is trying to figure out where their stomping grounds are. Trying to get an opportunity to get a piece of either of the girls. I mean, killing them on the spot would be great, but at the very least, to get a piece of them. And trying not to fucking die so we can get the girls down and incite the other 2 into doing something dramatic so they're easier to take out, because they're not thinking. The thing that makes the 2 of them dangerous, the Silence and the Sinister, is that they're fucking clever. And they're really good at prepping ahead, drawing us into places that they've already prepared to fucking face us, and running us in fucking circles. Phew. So what we've got the warders working on them, got the striders working on the Black Blade, got the gallows working on the other 4. I don't know where the ravens are going to end up and all that. But yeah, it's been a lot of trying to keep them from grabbing more territory. And a lot of trying to keep them from settling somewhere and getting comfortable. Because as soon as they bunker down, we've got a problem again. Dope. Geo finally rubber face, kind of glancing over to Yolana. Truth be told, Carves can probably do a better job than I can following up on the handle, the name, if there's actually any valid identity attached to it. Thoughts?
If that is who you want to handle it, I imagine he might, Raya.
I feel like having a hold of the girl will probably invest at least some. Might as well make sure that that's guided into the place it's most useful. Not that he's going to need any guidance. Actually, you hunt a lot, right? Do you ever use snares, traps?
Not often, Raya.
I mean, it was admittedly just a thought, but if we could set up something that would snag them, it's not that hard to bait the girls into following, especially me and anyone with me, but if we could set up something that would at least do a little damage, take a hunk out of them, even if they get away, got what we needed, right?
If this is what you will me to do, I will make it done, Raya.
Is it something you feel that you are capable of doing? Setting up traps for something that can get that big? Actually able
No,
to take
Raya.
a piece out of them?
It would be highly impractical in the extreme.
Fair enough. I wonder if I could rig up something with barbed wire. Well, even something as simple as slamming a door in their face that had something jagged on the outside, it'd probably take a piece off. They'd blow the door to pieces, but as long as they leave a hunk behind, it'd be enough. Just kind of continues to lean herself back, kind of rubbing the side of her face, and then, yeah, not back over her hair. She's got a hat on. It's fucking cold out. How about you, David? You at all familiar with jury rigging traps?
I'm sorry, I was lost in thought. What?
If we can't kill the girls in an encounter, the daughter and the forgotten, the one that looks like me and the one that looks like Jenny, if we can't outright kill them, we need to try to get a piece of them. And anything, any bullshit trap, anything that'll rip them up a little bit could be enough. And for a second, I thought maybe something fashioned off of snares and stuff, kind of gesturing to Yolana. But honestly, at this point, hell, slamming a door in their face that has something jagged on the outside, as long as it cuts off a bit of skin, is something. I'm just trying to think of how we could jury rig something, set them up, maybe get a chase. run them through something where they'll leave a couple pieces behind.
Well, if they didn't like to stick to populated areas, I'd say we should just rig up some IED and blast them.
Downside is they stay close enough to human activity that, yeah, they're less used roads and less populated buildings and streets, but
an IED that close to civilization is going to be too much.
I'd
rather not break the litany.
Ironically, an explosion doesn't break the veil. It's only if they get spotted in another shape. It's just breaking the law, which is, at least for us, less of an issue, but still not ideal.
Well, I don't know how friendly we are with the FBI or whatever, but I mean, if we made it known to some kind of, I don't know, authority like that, we could tell.
If they got any proof or footage that they were anything but human in the process, we would break the veil.
Oh, yeah, okay. Never mind.
I mean, not a bad thought for other issues. It's not good for this one. Besides, I'd probably just pop Krynos and fucking wreck them. I don't think the FBI uses silver handcuffs. Oh my god, that's a thought. Not something I'm ever going to get my hands on, but
honestly, if we had some silver bullets.
Oh man, she looks over at David with that, wouldn't that be the greatest kind of little dream look in her eyes. And if I had silver bullets, take the fucking Sinister out from 3 blocks away. Only takes one headshot. I mean, assuming you get a decent shot anyways. But wouldn't that be just the fucking thing? Go figure, in a world where silver is fucking deadly, we ain't got a lot of silver.
Yeah, well, I mean, you probably wouldn't have to mill a bullet into a, like a regular shape. You could probably just melt it down into a little ball and fire it out of a flintlock weapon.
Yeah, but I guess at that point, you'd still need a mold to get even a ball, wouldn't you? Might as well just give it a silver casing and fucking fire it out of something more accurate.
I mean, on some of those old guns, they're really accurate.
Yeah.
The thing is, because even in the Revolutionary War, they had discovered that if you add, I forget what it's called, but if you add the spirals on the inside, not the black spirals, but if you add spirals on the inside of the gun, if you add a bore to the gun, then it'll spin the bullet.
Oh, there you go.
And then that'll make it really accurate. But the problem is, the reason why a lot of those guns are considered to be inaccurate is because Prussia did an experiment or some fucking army way back in the day, and they discovered that men didn't really want to kill other men. Their weapons were fired at a big-ass blank sheet with little human shapes drawn on them, and their lines fired with near 100% accuracy in training. But then on the battlefield, people didn't want to kill other people. And that's why those guns have a, tendency to be seen as not very accurate. Now, obviously, the problem with firing flintlock weaponry is that you only get one shot before you have to reload. and it takes a while to reload. But if you're fast enough, and if you were to use, I don't know, cartridges, it might speed up the process. It's obviously not a perfect method, but I mean, it'd be the cheapest way to make silver bullets. Because then you wouldn't need a reloading bench.
Jesus. Oh, either way, they are still at large. Ooh, the echo's bad. Sorry. They're still at large. The Blackblade is thankfully keeping to himself, but who knows how long that'll last. But they are the major issue, followed closely by the worm/wild issue going on in the docks. Don't even... Just do me a solid. I don't even know where you go or what you do in a given day, but keep giving the docks a wide berth. There is some wonky shit happening there, and it's wonky enough that it's going to affect the Tellurian too.
Oh. So that's why it's been really weird there.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I'll try to finish up what I'm doing quick.
What have you been doing?
Can't talk about it.
She kind of eyeballs and thinks about it for a second. Gallows? I mean, do they at least know what you're doing?
Oh, sure, they know what I'm doing.
Okay. Then I'm going to assume whatever it is ties into something important. Do you need any help without telling me what you're all about?
David stops, and you can tell that like David.exe is like processing a command. And then he looks at Charlotte. Hey, Charlotte,
Yes.
do you remember how fuck awful that one day went when we went into, oh, what was it? It was that den of spiral dancers, but they weren't bad, right? But like then Patema showed up. You were pretending to be other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember.
So
I lost that
basically,
pipe.
so basically, you could do me a huge solid,
Okay.
Raya.
Oh, it must be good. Rias came out. What's up?
So I just need to check how well connected this one guy I'm looking into is. I know him. I don't really know too much about him. So I just need to be sure of one thing. Do you think you could come around one day? Not very talkative and very glary.
Yeah. You just have to tell me where to be and give me an idea of what I was walking into so I don't get shot full of dead.
Okay.
The more situational awareness I have, the happier I will be.
Okay. I'll figure some things out and come back to you on that.
Keep in mind too, like I said, I don't know what you're getting up to, but I can do everything classic to an Adrian of my fucking tribe, breed, and auspice. If you need to know what's in someone's phone, I can help you get it. If you need to know what's in someone's computer system, I can help you get it. I can tell you if people are lying. I can do a lot of shit. And if one of the conditions of this is not necessarily giving me 100% clarity, so be it. As long as I have an idea of what threats there are going in, and I know where the entrances and exits are, we're running pretty solid. I know they've said you're Omega, but you're still part of my pack, and I still would prefer you come out of this hole and succeed in what you're trying to do.
I'll think about how to approach this. Thank you, Raya.
Left. Sorry, having electrical issues. Alright. I don't know, like I said, what exactly you can't tell, but I'm pretty sure that as far as you being pack, it makes us a unit. So if there's something I can do or something the others can do. Just keep
Out of character, do we have a totem yet?
No, we do not. We need to do
Okay.
a quest. But we're
Well,
still
that's good
effectively
because
pack.
that will lead into this next question. So, if we're a pack, do we have a totem?
We will. Sadly, they don't just kind of magically appear and grace us. We have to go and seek one out that suits us and do whatever test it sets before us to prove that we are worthy of it or suited to it. And then we have a totem.
I mean, what goes into all that?
Well,
I mean, like, what do spirits want?
oh god. I am probably the worst person to ask, but it depends on the spirit. The kind of spirits I'm hashing between two, but leaning either way. The kind of spirit that we'll be dealing with will be one that involves either in negotiation or in a way, old school high etiquette. Very fixated on hospitality, very fixated on enforcing hospitality when it's broken. So the tests will probably have something to do with the nature of the spirit. It'll either be go solve this problem. It'll be in the case of Snow Queen, it could be anything from play host to prove that you have the metal to stay in any conditions that are offered you to, I don't know.
Wait. Did I hear that right? Ice Queen?
Snow Queen.
Snow Queen. Okay.
She is a Get a Fenris totem.
Okay. So, I mean, how do you go and find a totem?
The smart people probably just involve a Thayers to help them. And that is what I intend to do.
Oh, so I guess the totem comes to you?
You can either go to where it is more likely to appear and try to seek it out in its natural habitat, or yes, you can ask a Thayers to summon it to you. Some totems just wouldn't naturally occur here, and the best way to do it is just to summon them. In our case, with it being fucking frigid outside, it's a pretty ideal situation to summon Snow Queen into, if she's what we latch onto. I've been offered her as a suggestion, I've been offered Harrier as a suggestion. Harrier is a Silverfang totem that is more affiliated with a house that is all bent on negotiation, alliances, essentially good politics, which is what I want. But at the same time, Snow Queen, being what she is and affiliated with the Get of Fenris, might be more suited. Considering that the Get of Fenris and similar traditional tribes are usually what we're dealing with. Snow Queen believes in hospitality and in extending hospitality, and if your guest breaks hospitality, well, you put the boot to him. So still, in a way, a totem that respects being cordial. I think they're both totems of respect, actually.
Mm.
Harrier might be wisdom. I don't know. But in the end, it means we get as many of us together as we can, and we go out and we approach the totem. We put ourselves before it, we say what we want and why we've come to them, and they issue whatever test they see fit. There's no way to guess exactly what it'll be.
So it's not. So I mean, we don't just like gather around like a totem of the thing and like dance. I know that sounds really stupid, but it to me it's a serious question.
I mean, you can tell she's kind of grinning under the scarf. No. No, you actually speak to the appropriate spirit. And you undergo whatever tests they give the people that they would patronize, and you earn their patronage. And then they bind you together as a pack. And they continue to offer their boon in exchange for their ban. For so long as your pack remains together.
Hey.
Hmm?
So where are all the others? I mean, there's
Anyway.
werewolves, right? Shouldn't there be like were tigers and were bears and were lions? Oh my.
There's kind of a face pulled and a shrug.
Okay.
Dunno. Never seen another wear anything. You ever heard of that shit, Yolana?
No.
Okay. Well then, I guess there aren't any.
I mean, fuck if I know.
Because Ilana, you are from Greece, correct?
No. Incorrect.
No? Where are you from?
Santa Monica.
Oh. Okay. Okay. Is it nice?
Yes. There's no sept there. The sept is north of San Diego. Before the
guys,
Bad
what-
Mountains.
What? So out of character, what year is it?
I believe it is current day.
Okay.
I was never 100% clear on that.
I believe we are effectively current day, though obviously certain political things just don't even need to find their way into the game.
No, of course not.
But yeah, modern day.
You say as David slips on his MAGA hat.
I will burn you with fire.
I'm totally kidding. David has no political affiliation. Anyway. I'm sorry. Back into character. So, with all those wildfires, I mean, what do people over there do?
The best they can, really.
Fair enough.
There's no stopping nature. You just have to adapt. I imagine in the case of a Karen, there were plans, but I'm not a theurge. I don't fathom these things. The Bad Mountains have their own problems. We were barely a hill in comparison. We oversaw San Diego and some of the outlying areas. I was told not to talk of the place I came from here.
Oh, well, sorry. Let's change the subject then.
What do they ship here, back and forth across the ice?
Well, personally, all I know about are the prices of illegal drugs. But from what I was told, they do some iron, some timber. There's agriculture.
Yes.
Pretty much anything you would expect to find in a Midwestern state is shipped to and from here.
She nods. Looks so weird in that mask hat combo.
Yeah, David actually keeps looking at the skull mask, right? Like, hey, is there a story with that mask, or was it just on sale?
It scares people. Not the people, but people who are easier to scare.
Okay.
When you board a Wormcorp boat, no one will scare easily. They are there for a purpose, and you're there for yours, and it is a different type of affair. But sometimes Well, things are needed, and a less armed boat perhaps is boarded.
Hmm.
And those people carry a foolish amount of valuables in their boats. But they themselves not very well equipped or willing to defend it, especially when someone like me climbs over the edge.
Charlotte blinks a time or two at the silence, apparently having been lost in thought until conversation came to a complete halt. What happened?
He asked me about my mask, Raya.
Oh, just got really quiet.
She shrugs.
Hey, David,
Yeah.
did you get where I was going before? With the whole admittedly rage-induced remedial lessons on the litany and all that.
Yes, Raya, you did.
I mean, did you get the point, though? Which wasn't as harsh as it sounded in the moment. Like, I've
Even
had...
though I was drunk, Raya, I still got the point without being hit.
Ah, Jesus. Look. For one,
No,
it's...
what I mean to say, Raya, is that I understood about the litany.
In the end, the point was just learn how to survive inside the rules. I've had to do it too. We've all had to do it. And it sucks balls. Just learn them well enough to know how to slither around them, said the Philodox, but learn them well enough to function inside them and still get done what you need to get done and say what you need to say. I know you're more than capable of it. I know you're smart as shit.
Thank you for the compliment. I'll do my best.
Jesus, it's been a weird couple days.
It's cold.
It is. And I can tell you right now, she like gestures around them, there is no way in hell I can make a fire out of this. Or I'd try. But I feel like lighter versus wet wood is not going to work out for anybody. We can go somewhere where the Rayas will just actually matter there.
No, that's okay. You know, I used to live with my parents in an apartment overlooking Central Park.
Yeah?
Yeah, New York.
I think you told me a bit about that before.
And let me tell you right now, the Big Apple is I mean, it's got its places where you can take a bite and it's ripe and juicy. But then you go to other places and it's just rotten all the way to the core.
I believe it. Oh, look at Duluth's size by comparison. She just kind of like makes a vague wave in the general direction of the city. It's still got some nasty rotten spots.
Mm-hmm. It does.
So speaking of apartments, she kind of cranes her head around. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. I've already told McDuncan if he wants the apartment adjacent to ours, I'll make it happen. Same goes for you two. Obviously
Yes,
not the same one, but I feel like it beats a motel in the public housing and camping outside.
Well, after I'm done with what I'm doing, I'll do that.
One looks left, looks right. I'll take it.
Yeah?
Raya.
She kind of gives a hand wave. That whole essentially like the don't worry about it here kind of thing. Yeah, you're more than welcome. Honestly, I appreciate the company. And it's weird being the only person staying in the entire building that knows anything about anything.
Yeah, you're already seeing Yolana trying to calculate a lot of things at once. Her face kind of goes slack. What little you can see of it.
I can help handle the rent. You don't have to worry about it.
That was not what I was thinking of. Raya.
Well, what's up? Anything we can help with?
Where is this place? What is the square footage? Who am I being directly quartered with? Just a few questions among many.
She rattles off a rough square footage for the apartment. Thinks about it. There's at least two-bedroom apartments up there on the same floor as me. And honestly, I guess it's up to you guys who's sharing what with who. I assume no one's necessarily going to want to share with McDuncan and his wife. That would be incredibly awkward.
Yolana slowly looks at David.
I mean, I'll share a room with Yolana. Why not?
Agreed.
I mean, you'll have your own rooms. It's a two-bedroom.
I will stay with David, Raya.
Oh, okay.
I will stay with Yolana, Raya.
I feel like this is the most enthusiasm I've seen out of either of you in like a month. Jesus. Yeah, we'll make it happen. We'll even put a guest password on the Wi-Fi. Like, does a little, that half-hearted as fuck little hands up, like, yay gesture. Ta-da! Essentially.
The laughter is out of character. David is like stoic and miserable looking as ever.
The password is not guessed. Oh my god, everyone in the fucking complex would be on her Wi-Fi. Hell no. But yeah, shouldn't be too hard to arrange. I'll go through and start doing paperwork for it. At worst, if there's not enough places up there, or I feel like it's a little too clotted with other eyes and ears, we just go to another apartment complex that we pick ourselves, and then it means Felix and I are moving too. Whoopie-doo. Oh, to be honest, knowing that the eyes of Valorine are watching and listening is actually kind of reassuring in the middle of the city when we've got spirals everywhere.
Raya, if you get pregnant, what does that mean for the pack? Because I don't think they're going to let you go off if you're expecting.
I mean, this is a Getsept. She kind of shrugs. Honestly, it's very possible that, at least early on, they'd still expect me to be out on missions. Just depends.
Okay. I just figured.
For what it's worth, we are using protection because I would rather not have kids in the middle of this with spirals everywhere. When the time comes, and there probably will be a time if I survive long enough, eventually I'll probably move. Go to a quieter sept, raise my kids to a certain point, and then come back around. But by then, hopefully you guys will be well used to each other and able to work without me. It's not exactly an immediate future kind of thing, but I hope I live long enough to do it. But I'm not planning to get knocked up until this place is at least relatively stable, so I wouldn't worry about it. Oh, McDuncan's more likely to be expecting soon than I am. Shit. Kind of rubs the back of her head.
Yeah, David is essentially exactly that. Just like,
oh, I love you so much right now.
exactly that picture.
This picture's going to come up a lot in the future when people start saying things. I see.
What?
Nothing, Raya.
Well, I won't say tell me. I'll say you can speak freely without consequence.
I haven't fully figured out what I'm figuring out yet, Raya.
There are plenty of female Guru who have fucking kids. I don't plan to be a hands-off mom. I ain't gonna go spit out a baby and then go right back on the front line.
I mean,
I won't stop serving Gaia, but it doesn't mean I have to throw myself into the most dangerous place humanly possible. Alright, I'm just going to chalk this one up to ask an awkward question, get an awkward answer. I feel like I just shorted you both out. I can practically see the blue screen behind your eyeballs.
I have not lived long enough to consider the ins and outs of pregnancy, nor have I packed with people who have. Raya. I know the traditional answer, but that is not the answer.
I I mean, I have to admit, I was thinking of it in terms of. Well, never mind.
No, go ahead. I mean, you don't have to,
No,
but go
the
ahead.
answer is really callous. I'm not gonna talk about it.
I mean, the worst that happens is one of us punches you in the face. It'll grow back. It's fine.
No, there's a lot worse things that can happen than getting punched in the face.
I think that was kind of the point.
I have to intervene now, Raya, if you would.
How so?
There are things he needs to know.
I hope this is telling, not showing.
She looks at you confused.
David does put his hands like he takes a step back and puts his hands like protectively across his stomach, like.
Okay, David. David, look at me.
Okay.
You're a Ragabash and an Omega. Your entire job is to ask people questions that they don't want to hear. The calculating part is figuring out how they'll probably react. So maybe with people outside of our pack, you don't do that, especially the less you like them, because you do not like them so much they do not need the help. Fuck them. But with people you do like, you have to ask the hard questions and maybe say some things that you want them to consider, and they will not like considering it, and they will hit you. But that is not the worst thing in the world, because you made them think about it, and you are strong enough to take it, and it will grow back. And maybe you do this one day, and in the moment it hurts very much because one of us just really, really hit you, and you're very small, almost as small as me. But later, perhaps it saves their life.
Oh, what is the name of our world? It's the Tellurian, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So in the Tellurian, David is taller. It's just that with his pain spirit affiliation.
Yeah, he's like
Umbra,
a
It's all
shorter.
evil
gnarled
little
up.
fucking gremlin.
Yeah, so in the Tellurian, he's 5'11", but in the Umbra, he's 5. What did I say? 5'4",
You said
5'5".
5'5", which is, it doesn't matter. It's always taller than 5'3" over here.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And for what it's worth, keep in mind, you may be an Omega, but you're my Omega. You're our Omega. If you act out, yeah, you might catch a spot, but I'm not going to let shit go but so far without them actually involving a Philodox or involving me as the Alpha. You're my Omega, and you're still a part of my pack. And yeah, being Omega means a lot of things, but it also means sometimes just keeping people's mind off their fucking troubles. If that means telling a joke at the wrong time and making people groan, so be it. If it means taking a whack now and again because you just wanted to distract someone from something that could become far more destructive, something that might be working us up, something that might be getting us down, whatever have you, you're still part of this fucking family. And you may be that kid brother who catches licks now and again and has a rough time, but you keep us sane. And we're gonna fucking take care of you. No one's gonna take it but so far without me getting all up in their shit. Unless you really, really ask for it. You would have to do something pretty gruesome for me to tie my hands.
It's very confusing and probably not very mentally healthy.
I mean,
Right.
like most families. Shrugs. But in the end, yeah, you're gonna catch shit now and again. If nothing else, as a ragabash. Just know that in the end, regardless of what people say they expect, we still got your back. We're still here. Even if you're talking shit, we're still gonna take care of you. But yeah, asking the hard questions is your job. There's not many safer places to do it than among your own pack.
Well, I was just thinking that life on a Get Sept is really rough. And I mean, this war has gone on a long time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
It kind of applies to what Yolana pointed out. I had no intention of even thinking about having kids for a long time, but I've already lost one fiance to the war. I don't want to lose a chance to have a family because I waited too long and waffled over it. It's the only reason I've actually got a fucking plan. But yeah, gets up so rough.
in terms of manpower, how are we looking? How many people do we have to take in order to keep our numbers in the black?
Ironically, Charlotte is very comfortable with this question because it is exactly in terms that she's used to dealing with. Well, gotta figure we lose people. Not constantly, but regularly. At the same time, we took in several from Wolf's Maw. We had fresh changes. We had McDuncan and his wife come from far the fuck away. So we've done a pretty good job of cycling and kept our numbers pretty steady. It's not an increase, but then again, it's not like we can go recruiting. We'll change when they change. When people come because there are affiliations and you ask. It's one of the reasons we worked so hard to do that job up in Wolfsamaw. They're allies now. Alice and I going south with Runefur secured an ally to the south.
I got sent here to look after my cousin.
There's a grin. There you go. We pick up people here and there. We probably lose people the same way. Every so often, someone will die or someone will leave. But by the same token, the more alliances we make with adjoining septs, the more secure we are, and even if there is some sort of massive force that happens, we can call in backup to make up the numbers we don't have. North is pretty secure, south is pretty secure, at least as far as having someone in either direction. I finally started learning about what's out west, and that is... Ooh, that's going to be an adventure.
What is west?
Court of Wisconsin. Fair number of Silverfangs. I hear some Fianna. Sounds like predominantly a Silverfang sept. And I'm pretty sure that's out where Alice's family is, so at least one good big family of Get.
That sounds complex.
Yeah, it does. There's a bit of nodding. Honest, just kind of nodding.
What is our business there?
Well, did you hear about the row up at Wolfsmaw between the Alpha there and the visiting Silverfang dignitary?
I'm aware, yes.
He was from Wisconsin. So, a good way to sow good neighborly behavior would be to make some gesture in going over there and trying to smooth things out between the two, which ensures that A, we don't have to back Wolf's Maw through some protracted aggression with another sept, because let's face it, for one, I'd rather not lose people, and for two, I don't want to fight another fucking sept. We're all in the goddamn nation. And for two, smoothing it out could be a lead in to having allies out to the west.
Your will be done.
It's just kind of a blank because, bless Yelena's heart, she's trying, but it's weird. And east, fuck, I don't know. Keep hearing about St. Cloud, some Shadow Lord sept, but I haven't actually learned anything about it. Just apparently it's there.
Mm.
We ain't got any kind of lead in for that, so I'm not stressing about it right now. We've got all the shit close to home. We've got eventually the Court of Wisconsin, and I at least have some visits to make up north. Because I've got extended family up there, or soon to be. And beyond them, managed to connect to some of the Wendigo up there. And I want to keep those lines of communication open.
This should not be too much of a problem for me.
It was like a quirk of a grin. You're not unused to seeing Furies.
No.
You'll be fine.
This I think, yes, I can deal with this.
Considering what little I know about surviving in the fucking snow, I learned traipsing around with a group of them. Yeah, I feel like you and them would get along pretty good. Better than I do.
Maybe.
Worth
But
a
you
try.
have history now.
Yeah. She actually ends up like kind of patting herself over and finally like pulls out the phone case. It is still gruesomely damaged from where her fucking phone exploded, but it's there and it still has pockets in it, and that's all she really fucking cares about. There is a much cheaper smartphone shoved into it at the moment. But she finally fishes in the pockets and offers, tugs out a little photo and offers it over.
Yolanda got a photo.
Yeah. She has in her hands a photo of Long Shadow tugging in one of Rhyme's numerous progeny. Like, actually, I think it's one of him playing with one of the pups. That's Long Shadow. I'm at a admittedly dwindling pack, and by time we got to safety, he and I were the only two left out of the lot of us, but got him home. That pup there is actually one of the children of one of the packmates that was lost. Some odd military, well, pseudo-military, I don't know, fucking mercenary shit was out there, bought up by Enron Oil. Or Gleason's Logging. Got a whole fucking file on these companies, but they were sending troops out there. Lots of them. Good weapons, good gear. And they managed to gun down 2 of the 3 I was running with. But yeah, that's Long Shadow. That's my connection. That's my line of good people.
She'll give the photo back.
Yeah, she'll offer David a glance if he's curious.
David is looking off toward the lake, but you can tell that he's been listening.
Yeah, she won't bug him to show him if he's not interested enough to be glancing over at it. She ain't gonna break his fucking Kool-Aid. But yeah, this is what I've been doing. This is what I want this pack to do. It's cool if it's not your shit. I won't give anyone crap if they want to file out of it, but
Hey, Raya.
connections.
So now that you haven't ordered me to look at the picture, can I please look at the picture?
Really?
Yeah, I just wanted to see if you would order me to or not.
Jesus. She looks it over and offering. There's a certain amount of front I gotta put up for fucking public face. But I prefer not to be a total dick.
Well, yeah, I was trying to suss you out in private as
Yeah.
opposed to in public, so.
Fuck
I like
it.
to steal shit and get drunk. That's my thing.
That's your thing?
Also tits.
You know what?
That's pretty good.
Not even
Just
mad.
don't go to that cursed strip club.
Sometimes after we like got a really rich boat, like a lot of money, we'd go back, and it's not like we went to a strip club with strippers, but there were kinfolk, and they would like to do that for us as a prelude to other things. So we just kind of pretended, and we threw the money around. We didn't care. It didn't have much value for us, but it was a fun time, and we'd all get drunk, and things would get interesting.
Charlotte's got the most entertained grin on.
The awkward part later, though, was picking up the money because we actually had to spend it on things like the Seb's groceries.
No hot shit. No.
Those are all three of my interests.
You know what? I appreciate that.
But I will do the things the pack needs done.
I appreciate that too. I'd rather see us fighting alongside other Seps than against them. It's just a waste of fucking life. And I know I'm an Adrian and all that, but at least when we are properly in private and no one is looking, unless it is offensive to your senses, I'm just gonna be people. I was people for fucking 19 years before I changed. I like to live the illusion sometimes. Be what the nation needs me to be when I'm in the nation. And if you really fucking need it, I'll pull the leader bullshit 24/7, but honestly, I'd rather just be fucking friends.
I'm going to take advantage of this moment to tell you something. I have no idea what McDuncan is saying half the fucking time.
What?
I understand that he defeated me in leadership, and thus I must follow him because that's how single combat works. But I have no idea what the fuck he is on about. He came to me in the middle of the night. I had tracked some hares, but they got in their hutch, and I couldn't do anything for spiritual reasons. It is complicated, but I was frustrated, and then he came and started talking, and I had no idea what the fuck he was on about. It was like for a half hour.
He's probably just trying to find the people under you somewhere.
And then he walked away, and I was just, I punched a tree.
So, do you remember anything specific that he said?
It became a blur after a while. I'm going to confide in you two. I was mostly waiting for him to leave.
Oh, I hate that.
You're
Like, there was this one time, this guy I know, well, I mean, I don't know if he's still alive, but I used to know this guy who lived in Cleveland. And Cleveland is a shitty city. I left after like 3 days because I realized how shitty it was. But there was this guy, and I never got his real name, but he always insisted on being called Shadow. Anyway, Shadow was a weird dude, but, you know, he would always buy me hot Cheetos. I met him at a gas station, and I would spend time with him because he seemed really lonely. And I guess I was the only guy who'd listen to him talk. But he bought me hot Cheetos and sometimes Dr. Pepper. Okay, one time he bought me a Dr. Pepper too. But anyway, I could never follow what he was talking about.
That is how
You wanna
I feel
know-
about McDuncan.
Do you want to know something? He
What?
told me more than any human being should ever know about this cartoon called Yu-Gi-Oh! And I one time I listened to him speak for 3.5 hours outside of a gas station because he bought me a super huge bag of hot Cheetos, and that's about how long it took me to eat them all.
It puts me in a difficult situation. I am supposed to be supporting you on whatever you choose to do, but with him, I have no idea what the fuck he wants.
Oh,
I'm trying. He is hard to decipher. I was working through several concussions at the time that did not help. For
well,
someone who thinks they are smart, I get my ass kicked a lot.
being smart and having a lot of physical prowess are two completely different things.
The Millennium Puzzle is still bullshit.
The one thing I do remember him telling me was that the Millennium Puzzle is complete bullshit because by its very nature. How the fuck do you know about Yu-Gi-Oh?
No reason.
slow
Please don't tell me you're like
silent.
Shadow. Please don't tell me you're like Shadow. He was 17, had a neck beard, and wore a fedora and a trench coat and
No.
fingerless gloves.
I own none of those things. Especially the beard. I was a child. I watched cartoons like children do. And Yu-Gi-Oh! Was one of those cartoons. We're Black Furies. We have basic cable.
I just wouldn't imagine literally anyone who lives. David looks at the camera. This life, and looks back to you guys to know anything about that.
Look, you have to look at it this way. It is true that there are some traditionalists among us who choose a very ascetic path, who completely issue all things modern around them, and sometimes go so far as to completely eschew whatever culture or place they find themselves in to enhance an idea of true purity. But that is not the way everyone is all the time.
Yeah, Charlotte like slowly cracks open a soda bottle. Like, wait.
Yeah. So, yes, I know plenty of things in the modern world. I am even a fair hand at driving, apparently. Not that fair of a hand. I actually do feel much guilt about your vehicle, Raya,
Like,
and nearly killing you.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm more worried about my life than the car. I liked the car at all, but there was literally a Krynos hanging off the back.
I was very, very worried that you were going to die, and then subsequently very worried that you were going to kill the point of our mission. I snatched her out before you could
Oh God, is that what happened?
yes. That is why I concluded I had nearly killed you, because I had.
I'm gonna put most of the blame on the knife in my fucking chest.
That thing did not even come out when the rage overtook you. I was kind of astounded.
Yeah, that was a first for me too. That was very alarming.
It was I own one. It was a piercing blade. I don't think they would have gotten as much purchase if they hadn't been able to punch it deep that way. I used one myself for a time, but it's just not as versatile. I gave it up.
And yeah, even David will see. Charlotte like reaches up and kind of idly rubs, like, like between the titties, like just kind of rubs her chest, like Jesus.
Yeah. And she'll literally pull out a stiletto. I carry this one on me because sometimes it's easier to pick things apart. But this is good for stabbing. It punctures things very easily, even if they're wearing like armor of some kind, and also very well in the spaces between the ribs. But as you can see, it's not a good cutting weapon, and it doesn't have much heft to it. So if it really comes under stress, you can ruin this thing quite easily. So it has its uses, but it is too delicate for the way I do things. This is likely what they stuck you with, if it were to stick out like that.
I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't paying a lot of attention to what type it was.
I was ushered out of the room.
I was pretty distracted just by the fact that it was sticking out of my chest.
I commend the Arun. He obviously did a very good job extracting it.
Marcel is better people, I think, than he gets credit for. He's done some bad things, but he's not as bad as they'd have you think.
His alpha invited me to dinner.
The eyebrows kind of pop.
I am waiting for the time, and I assume the place might be his home or perhaps another property, but he invited me to dinner. This is the thing I do not know, the implications of this politically. I do not think it would be wise of me, a Cleith, to decline him, but
no.
You are my alpha. I want your... How do I proceed?
Oh, Jesus. Dinner with Carves. Just... Honestly, you're already so fucking cautious by nature. I don't know that I need to warn you. Just be very polite. Take something with you. If it's at their home, some sort of gift.
I have some leftovers from when I was selecting wines from my cousin.
That'll do it.
They're not bad. It's not bad wine. It's just I didn't think it would agree with her palate. I spent a lot of time thinking about it.
That is terrifying because, let me tell you, I don't know shit about wine. It gets way too complicated too fast.
I don't either. I just bought a bunch and then overthought it.
You know what? Kudos to you for being honest about it. But yeah, take a bottle of wine with you, especially if it's at their home. His wife, Michelle, is apparently, I mean, to all accounts, a fucking saint. Treat her properly. And, yeah, I'd warn you to be careful what you do and don't say, but you're already very, very careful for the most part. Unless you're agitated about what you do and don't say.
Politically, what does this broadcast me accepting this?
You're a Cleith. Let's face it, you technically have a choice, but not really.
I don't.
You shouldn't have to worry about throwing up any flags by going.
I'm not worried about me. The things I do reflect on you.
You won't throw any bad flags up by going to dinner when you're invited.
Okay. He knows about certain things now.
Certain things?
You were being treated in the other room. He knows about the nature of the daughters now, as far as I understood it. I do not know all the ins and outs of their hunting, but he knows now that they hunt to sustain themselves. He knows of this. The term I used was butcher shop that they've made of that club. He knows some things that I have figured out, mostly through you, about the silence, things like that. He asked me what had gone on, the situation. He had saved our lives. I felt obliged.
When it comes to telling him about enemies, tell him. We're all the same, except we're all fighting the same thing. If it's about the enemies, I can tell him anything he wants to know. Just
I
be
didn't
very
make
careful
mention.
Hmm?
I do not mean to cut you off. I did not make mention of they who shall not be named. But it seemed from what he said he already knew who was pushing us where.
Yeah, didn't he say something about Undergrowth called him in?
Yes.
Yeah. I still need to talk to Undergrowth. I can't believe he did that.
It's been a busy time.
But yeah. You don't have any information about other people per se to share, but obviously anything that you would not hand to someone that you didn't know what they would do with it, don't give them sensitive information.
Okay. You may know things about me already,
If he
and where I
has,
come from.
that's fine.
Oh.
He is a glasswalker. He has access, probably. If he wants it, he'll know exactly where you came from. He'll probably have a copy of your birth certificate. I mean, shit.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's gross. That's how we do.
There's one other thing I must tell you.
Okay?
Your new beta, McDuncan. He, there's the one thing I parsed out from everything else he was on about is he wanted some kind of story about why I follow you, and he did not accept what I had, but it is what I have, and that is just how it is. And he can beat me as much as he wants, but I will not change my tune. The reason I follow you, that was a large part of him frustrating me. All right. I had an instinct. I'm following it. He apparently does not put much stock in such things. And I do not know what I'm going to tell him later, but I would appreciate you going along with it if you would humor me.
I mean, is that really the reason? Just kind of a gut urge to do it, and you're just kind of going with it and seeing where it takes you?
Yes.
I mean, not the most flattering answer, but you know what? Here, we will hash this out right now. She actually sits up a little bit, and I mean, you can tell she's about to do her shit. She's not making it in any way subtle. She actually sits up and, actually squares up to look at her properly, look her in the face, and Barb.
Yeah.
I have to ask I have to look up what the fuck the roll is because I can never remember what
I don't know if the difficulty, it's intelligence empathy, by the way. I don't know if the difficulty is going to be modified by your pure breed in this instance.
Nope.
I don't think so. So you're looking at 6.
Okay, so intelligence, empathy, diff 6. We'll just go ahead and roll it before we even start. Fuck.
I know this because I too have spammed this gift. I've played more than one Philodox in my life.
Alright. If I don't make this difficulty, I'll cry.
We'll both be crying, but it looks
There
like
you
you
go.
just made it, buddy.
Just enough to ping it. So yeah. She actually sits up and, honestly squares with her, looks her in the face and says, "Why do you follow me?"
Instinct.
That's it, just instinct.
Yes.
No other motives, no other initiatives.
No.
I'm assuming it all pings is true.
Yeah.
The eyebrows just kind of pop up and she shrugs and goes back to lounging back. Snags her soda bottle again.
It felt so fucking weird that I would have to tell him why I followed you. You were the one who should know why I follow you. I know he is beta and he can beat me for my impertinence or we will fight again or something, but
Well,
I just...
think of it this way. What does McDuncan do? What does he specialize in? He's all about morale.
Galliard.
It's all about morale. It's all about that energy. It's all about that excitement.
I mean, the
He's
truth
trying
is
to-
the truth. I can't just dress it up. It is obvious he will not accept it.
Well, if he asks, I can at least tell him that you are honest. But if that's the only reason to do it, do you trust your instincts that much?
That's the part where I've relied on my instincts for a long time, and I am not dead.
Compelling?
Something about this place is throwing them off, though, but I've lived this way for so long that it is hard. I spend a lot of time in the wild now because I may be somewhat modern, but you turn to rituals for their purpose. And for me, I am trying to cleanse whatever it is that's been muddling my instincts.
So just a spitball here. And I may be wrong. I don't know how your instincts function, but if the thing that is setting them off is that you're having to adjust to a new way of living, and they haven't learned how to fire off properly in response to all these new things, isn't the only way to really hone them and to learn what does and doesn't work to continue to submerge yourself in these new things? If you return to what worked before, and what was the way it was, they should be fine. You already know how to live in that. But you're going to have to expose yourself to this new world and these new people and see what fires off and what doesn't and learn how to adjust accordingly, or they're just going to keep misfiring when you do. She just kind of shrugs. I mean, let me sing you the song of my people. I have the exact opposite issue. And here, with a lot of people with some modern shit, I'm good. I don't always get things right, but I can get a read and I've survived pretty fucking well. You stick me out in the fucking wilds north of Wolvesmaw, though, and I'm pretty much fucked. But I'm never gonna learn if I don't go outside. She actually points up at the dangling deer. That's why I wanted to see.
Never been anywhere this cold before. There are places up mountain that are cold, yes. Not this cold.
Oh, at the risk of sounding like a total buzzkill, it can get worse.
I believe you. There are many things in the natural world that are very different from what little I have seen. Until now, I had never left California or the Pacific.
You know, if you learn to, I mean, if we go up there, which inevitably, sooner or later, we're going to, at the very least, if you can show respect to the Wendigo, I don't imagine they'll have any issue teaching you the difference. She kind of glances over to see if David's like falling asleep on them, or if he's doing that stare at the lake and but listen really hard thing he do.
He is listening. He's not falling asleep. It's just David seems just, David it just seems fidgety like normal.
Yeah, he's just Daviding all over the place.
Oh man, like always.
I suppose. Not gonna lie, I don't like most people.
I can't blame you.
I
A lot
miss
of
my
people here
sisters.
don't like. What?
I miss my sisters. Where I come from.
Why did none of them come with you?
They're needed at the Sept. I was the one who was chosen. I see what happened here. I mean sisters in the sense of the sisterhood that is my tribe, and those of my tribe that were on the Sept, not my literal blood sisters. I was an only child.
I admittedly just kind of assumed that Jimmy talks the same way.
No, they were needed there, and I was tapped to go.
Never tried hunting with Calliope?
I am still trying to figure some things out that do not need to be uttered here.
Okay. Fair enough.
I know this place is supposed to be safe, but many things are supposed to be safe until they're not.
Well, that is, admittedly, in the end, that is between you and your sisters. Gonna lie. I get jealous sometimes. Kicks her feet up.
Well, you have us, even if yesterday was not a good day.
No, and I'll be honest, I got fucking pissed. And it's not gonna be easy, but it's not the worst thing I've had to survive. We'll be fine. You're probably gonna catch some shit, but it's just gonna be catching some shit.
I was
Be a lot
already
worse.
destined for that.
And honestly, well, I wish you'd let me say it first. I appreciate that you actually stuck up for David.
He's ours.
All of yesterday.
And it was also bleedingly obvious to me that the other one started it.
Sadly, Truth of Gaia doesn't see through a drunken haze. But
They have more weight than us, you are right.
and in the end, being struck by an Adrian is being struck by an Adrian when you're a Cleath. And it sucks balls, but there's not a lot to do about it as long as they don't take it past a certain line.
I know. I just he is ours, and I was not thinking straight.
I mean, there are worse things you could have than a possessive streak over your pack mates.
It was more than that. When McDuncan did what he did, I saw it as a betrayal. He was supposed to be with us, and then he was not.
In a way, I know it didn't look like it from our side, but that was with us. Before they all stacked up, when it was just pack facing pack, he stood in the middle instead of favoring his people, which is a step. And if certain things hadn't been said, there's a good chance that other friends of mine would have made an attempt to do the same. But that's just not how it went.
Maybe we leave me outside when you deal with most of these people from now on.
Just in a pinch, back me. Once we have a totem, say what you need to say in the link.
I'm not talking about me coming out of a bush with my bow drawn to show them that you are not alone when you signal me. I mean, I have an understanding now of what you mean to do. I am not conducive to that. Even when I try to be.
Fair
So
enough.
maybe in the future, when you have to go and do your peace walking, I just keep an eye on things and make sure you are not ambushed. Firm nod.
Vague smirk.
Actually, I was going to say, Charlotte, Raya, do you remember how I was when I first came here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, I probably shouldn't talk to anybody.
When
we're
it
trying to.
comes to peacemaking, yeah, it's probably better left to me and McDuncan.
Yeah, what we're trying to say is me and him should probably just be watching. Which is
It's-
valuable in itself in case we catch some little shit trying something.
It is. It is. And I don't mind having that kind of backing. Just
You give the orders at the end of the day. If you really want us there, we will do it.
she kind of gives her head a shake. I want you to work within your niche. I don't want you with me in spite of the way you are.
I mean, you
I want
have
you
seen
with
me.
me because of the way you are. And if that means that you are better off keeping an eye, that's fine. That means there's someone to keep an eye on my back.
My philodoxing is somewhat different than yours. I prefer to see the crime and then start cutting meat.
It's a simpler and to the point way of doing things.
It's
There's nothing wrong
surprisingly
with that.
very well respected here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is. I'm the odd one out here.
It's not so bad to use it. Which one did you use on him again?
Voice of the Jackal.
It's a traditional method. I may have been huffy because I was busy locking horns with. Ugh.
With Cassie, yes.
Yes. But it's still a traditional punishment, and I could see where it was coming from. I had no grudge with it. I was just
Speaking
unable to do it because I don't know the right yet. But
speaking of, because there was some concern, just do me a favor. Glance is over. After you and me left Cassie standing there,
I didn't hit her.
you didn't go back.
No,
And
I've never laid a hand on her.
if she has to be absolutely sure, yeah. And I mean, you can roll the primal urge if you want to detect it. She just kind of nods. Okay. I just had to ask.
Like, I don't mean to jump there as though I were being puppeted by a strange man who already knew the situation, but it's kind of the assumption with the metas that I would go back and be like, pow, 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 how dare you?
She kind of quirks her brow.
This Bob just like
With
not
a
only
strange
leans on the
man.
fourth wall, belly flops against it.
A strange man?
I don't know. Words come into my head. Sometimes they come out as a word salad. You're lucky that I'm speaking in one of the 3 languages right now.
Fair. But no, I just had to ask. I didn't necessarily think you were the type, but I had to ask.
That would have been pointless anyway.
It makes a
I'm
big
not.
difference to me, and it will make a difference to her pack mates.
Look, I'm not above kicking someone's shit in if I think it will serve a purpose, but there's no. It wouldn't have helped anything. At the most, I would have summoned their Arun.
Yeah, probably.
And then what? I get my ass kicked again. There's nothing to be gained from beating her.
No, there's not.
The only thing I think she could take umbrage with, they could take umbrage with, well, maybe she takes umbrage with it too. It was upsetting. There was a time after that big brawl, she was suffering from, well, I know what it is now. I thought she had a fresh wound that I could do something about. I asked her to show me, and she did, and I feel maybe having to show me shamed her in some way. When I realized there was nothing I could do about it, I apologized. I told her, cover it again, I'm sorry.
And you've done everything you could do. I don't think their umbrage was with that. They just worry about her.
I mean, the way she was reacting, I thought maybe someone had taken a chunk out of her or something.
The problem is that there are layers of issue there. She had seizures when I came to the Sept, when I was still a cub, when I was a fresh Cleith. She took a scar there. while I was a Cleith. More recently, you've seen the daughter. You've seen how close she looks to me.
Yeah,
They were
because she
aiming.
fooled me.
They threatened Cassie while I was questioning one of them. He made it sound as though we thought that he was cut off from his pack while we were questioning him. He wasn't. And they made threats through him. I called Cassie. I found out she was in the city, not somewhere safe. And I urged her to hide. I told her I was coming to get her. That I would get her out of there safe. And in the end, we got to the place. I didn't know where she was initially, but I almost immediately was in the clinch with a friend of mine fighting a skin dancer. And while I was fighting, the daughter found her and abused her trust and stabbed her many times more in the same place she took that scar. It's been compounded several times over.
Well, either way, I've never laid hands on that woman.
I'd appreciate it if it stayed that way, but thank you.
I mean, like I said, what's the point?
Just so.
So we locked horns. Of course, a child of Gaia will start locking horns when someone suggests cutting off limbs.
It was good to see her stand up for what she thought was important. And it was good to see you stand up for what you thought was important. It was good to see how these things hash out.
I mean,
I know
Just-
that sounds awful, but for once it was nice to be the Adrian in the room and to let you hash it out between you.
Speaking of Adrian's in the room, I don't think you read my exact intentions when that started. I was trying to limit the damage, keep it away from a friendly pack. The other Adrian in the room, he let it right back there. And I don't know why. I don't know what they've done to him.
She kind of thinks back over it. What, Junkard?
Yes. Remember, I took the initiative, yes? When you take the initiative, you can shape the conversation. So I shaped it where it needed to be, not just with one of them, but with both of them, so nobody felt too slighted at the center, where all the commotion was. I already knew about the thing with Ragnar. I already knew. I was trying to push that away from it.
In the end, the problem was too many people knew. And even if Melanie didn't want to press the matter, too many people knew. And you can't overlook a Cleith spitting on a Fostern.
You can't. I was hoping since the principal parties had expressed forgiveness that maybe it could just be walked away from. When someone demands satisfaction, that's one thing. But there was no demand for satisfaction. I didn't see the need. And then when it came up, it is a finger, it will come back.
In the end, it's still a Get Sept, and they're still going to strictly enforce rank. It's why I have to put on a face when we're out there, and it's why I'm going to have to enforce being Adrian when I'm out there.
Like I said, I was trying to protect them.
What they got wasn't that bad.
It wasn't. I was honestly afraid of something much, much worse with a lot of them.
I would never let it happen. He's a Cleith. Cleiths make mistakes, especially in an emotionally tense situation.
She starts looking kind of paranoid. Sure there's no spies here?
She kind of shrugs. As sure as I can be.
I'll trust your word for it then. You've been here longer than me.
I can And say nothing I've ever said out here comes to bite me in the ass.
Honestly, meeting the truth catcher for the first time, I think he knew what I was doing.
Of course you did.
You know what his eyes are like.
I do?
It's like they go right through.
Yeah. He's an incredibly powerful and dangerous person. Don't make an enemy of him.
And I had no intent of, and he did not seem to signal that I had offended him.
No, you're
I
fine.
feel like I would know.
You know.
And I watched when he performed that right, by the way. I was not in the crowd. I was at a distance. Whew. That was a version of it I've never seen before.
He is the truth catcher on a Get Offender Sept. You think he'd be able to hold his position if he wasn't that intense?
I've seen the Milestone version.
I've heard of it.
Oh, it is messier than they say it is. Because everybody imagines that all the teeth will come out just like tiles, right? But they're bone, they break. So it's chunks, and there's chunks in the person's mouth, and there's blood fucking everywhere. It is a bigger mess than you'd think. I'm sorry, that was a lot of information that no one ever needed.
Is what it is. Finally rubs up and down her face.
Me and David need to go start processing this thing, get some sleep after.
Mm-hmm.
You should probably go see your husband or something. Are you married yet? I'm not sure.
We haven't had the wedding yet, no.
You're betrothed then.
Yeah.
You should go see him and think about happy things and look at him and be like, oh, husband to be, you're so pretty. And he'll be like, I know, because I've seen his face. I'm not into that kind of thing, but he is pretty. And he will be like, and you are my most beautiful wife. And you are attractive. I would not break the litany for you, but you are a good looking woman. And then you two can just be a handsome power couple together and probably go to sleep in matching pajamas. I don't know why I think you have them. It's just I look at you two and I kind of assume you do with monograms. Word salad just kind of comes spilling out sometimes.
Oh, God. So in the end, takeaway, are we at least all on the same page as far as how to fucking act out there?
You know me, I just get stupid when I'm mad.
We will start employing the walk away tactic. Or at the very least, the walk to me tactic, because I can scrape the fucking aggro off you if I need to.
I really did mean to support you when
I know. It came out all fucked and sideways, but the gesture was there. Now the problem is that we need to make gestures that come across right, so we don't look like we're bumbling around.
Yeah, I don't think the Fiona will want to see me.
Probably not for a while. I'd play super nice.
But not for a very long time.
Don't avoid them. Don't make it weird. Treat them with respect.
I don't. Believe me, there's plenty of intent to show respect, but after the proverbial forming of Voltron, I am wary. Yeah, I snuck form Voltron in there.
Just, if you're being respectful, if you're being polite, there is no reason for a Voltron to form, and you should be fine. They give you shit, suck it up.
I hadn't even anticipated it. Like they just all appeared.
I mean, they were all there already.
I
They just
know,
weren't
but
all like they're there.
look, that level of coordination was not something I was thinking about.
Well, I mean, Geta Fenris are the way the Geta Fenris are in the Fianna. They're all about family, and as far as they're concerned, they're one big fucking family.
I see. Seriously, I still do not to this day know 90% of what McDuncan was saying to me. There was something in there about a 4'11" man and biting. I don't know.
You mean his den father?
I don't, when he gets going, it's very hard to follow.
You should try listening. It's pretty entertaining.
I was very upset and concussed,
Next time when you're less upset and concussed, then.
thanks in no short amount to his giant boot.
Alright.
That was a fight that was going to happen. I do not begrudge him winning. It is simply hawks take mice, dogs chase cats. Sometimes I lose fights.
Well. Just. All that shit we talked about just kind of gives a hand wave. And get some thinking in on how we can make some of these moves against these spirals. Like I said, it'd be great to kill them, but in a pinch, we just need to take a chunk.
Now that I'm less wary of what you're about to do next, I will say this about the traps. Using a trap to take a sample of these spirals when they have roundly chased us out of many places is flawed, because most of these things operate under the assumption that we will have control of the space. We'll be able to go back and get the chunk, and not that they will have thought of this and remove the chunks themselves, or a packmate will go behind them and do it. Even if we were to lure these daughters out far, it seems like their parents aren't very far behind. Like, they know they need supervision, yes? So if you are planning to use a trap, which is a mighty, mighty prospect against a thing like Krynos, I would say it needs to be constructed in a way that the sample is easily retrievable in the heat of things, so that we can then just have it and go. Because if we rely on a space that we can come back to, we will fail.
I'm beginning to think something where we can employ barbed wire. Something that'll just rip them up some.
Like I said, there's a lot riding on our ability to go back and retrieve. This needs to be thought out.
Might be able to talk to the gallows. Get someone like Anton, maybe. Come behind us, snag what is picked up. Have the rest there to make sure they can shake them off us once we're done. There are a few things I enjoy better in this world than some cover fire.
I will say this, what little I have learned facing the daughters this time. 1, I would very much like to behead the black-haired one. And 2, those two, the young ones, when they are excited, they will go wherever you lead them.
Yeah.
Especially the blonde one.
This is not the first time they've given a significant chase. The two of them like a chase. And actually, considering what we learned about how they hunt, yeah. If they get excited enough, they'll chase us anywhere. We just need to plan ahead.
This is advantageous. You're right. We need to plan ahead, but it is late, and David and I have at least an hour of work to do after this. And David, you can just sleep in my room.
No, I have to make some moves tonight.
Just watch your ass, and in a pinch, I'm on the other end of the phone.
Yeah, do you need help?
No, you're not jumped in, so.
Okay, but just saying.
Trust me, if I could, I'd definitely have you, there or very close nearby. But I just don't know who's watching.
Okay.
It's why I've been very distant from the Sept.
Well, hopefully things clear up. All right, big buck. And she starts like lowering it. You and me have a date with my tools.
Yep, you have fun with it. She starts hoisting herself up.
Oh, this will feed me for at least a month. I will have the most fun with it.
All right. I'm gonna go play power couple. David, do you need a ride?
I will accept a ride at least until the edge of town.
Yeah.
Sure.
Usual pickup spot, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And she starts just hauling this thing away, just kind of muttering to herself. Oh, yes, you are the most beautiful of husbands, with your fair golden hair and perfect bone structure. Oh, but
Hey,
do you
Silver.
also have golden
Silver.
hair?
He's got silver hair.
With your fair silver hair and perfect bone structure. Oh, but you too have fine hair and pretty blue eyes. Oh, oh, oh. I am a get a Fenriskin.
I'm not even gonna lie, she ain't even mad. Then yeah, she'll start heading out with David. Head over to the bike and give them both a ride back into town. And shall we call it there?
I'd say so.
I'd say we do.
All right, so thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. We'll see you next time in an episode of Sass